Alright, last Bravely video ended a little volatile, so let's loosen up a bit. Let's do some more yapping. Everybody loves a little bit of yapping, right? Especially if it's on a personal opinion that people are invested in. So let's do that. Last little while, I've been thinking about the music of Bravely Default. There's songs that everyone knows and loves, like all the final boss themes, normal boss themes, Eternia, the character special themes, love all those. But I think there's some tracks that deserve just a smidge more attention, and I just want to ramble about some of them today. So here's a list of 10 songs from throughout the Bravely series thus far that I consider to be underrated. There's also no particular order here, just going game by game, and yes, there's going to be full spoilers for all the games here. Also, after you've heard my picks, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. So let's kick this off with a track from BD1 that was absolutely pivotal in sucking me into this franchise. Beyond That Prayer. This song was mixed perfectly to create the kind of tension and hope that the opening AR movie needed. In reality, this is just a remix or combination of two other songs from Bravely Default, Shrine Maiden's Prayer and Wicked Thing. Now, of course, that makes sense once you have the context for it, but I just love the way it alternates between fear and hope, while maintaining this sense of desperation and urgency, and immaculately sets the stage for the story to come. That's why I'm really excited to see how they're going to handle this scene in the upcoming remaster, because it's one of my absolute favorite moments out of any of the games. Moving on from that, let's hit the other entry in this list from BD1. And something a little softer. Silence of the Forest is so good at setting the atmosphere it intends, and I have listened to it regularly as relaxation music for well over a decade at this point. And funnily enough, despite having the translation of Silence of the Forest or Sylvan Tranquility, I don't often think of the woods when I hear it. Instead, I'm seeing the Temple of Wind or the Narende Ravine, places of stone and waterfalls. Just a beautiful dungeon track all around. Not an ounce of malice to be found. It's a song that just fills the air with mystery and fog. No danger, just ancient, of a time past. Now, the reason I only have two BD1 songs on here is because I think everyone would agree that that soundtrack is pretty universally loved, so there wasn't really a lot for me to pick from that I both enjoyed and felt were adequately underrated. Like, originally I was gonna mention The Day the Wind Blew, but I think other people would easily name that one if asked to name a non-battle theme. Let's just give it an honorable mention then, huh? So, with BD1 out of the way, let's move on to the next game. Bravely Second. Now, a lot of fans agree that this game is generally the weakest of the three for music, having Rio swapped in with a different style that was a little samey for all the tracks. And while I partially agree, I still think Rio kicked some serious ass with some of these tracks. Actually, let's start with that one. Kick-Ass. I'm sure there's other translations for the name, but this is the oldest one I'm familiar with for Tiz's new special theme. Now, yes, again, the special themes do sound similar to one another with their use of the electric guitar, but I am of the opinion that this one uses it best, and sounds the most unique of the four. If these specials had to have unique instruments for each of them, like in the other games, I would want this one to stay exactly the same above all else. This special theme really sparks a fire in your soul and embodies Tiz's return. Starts off real heroic with the horns, then quickly builds up with the drums, the drop, and then right into the action. It's just like Tiz says, I'm back and better than ever. I know I said special themes are pretty commonly discussed when it comes to Bravely music, but most people, I find, write off the second themes a lot of the time, so I figured Tiz deserves some love. But while I won't do another special theme in this video, that's not to say I'm done with character themes. And this next track is an all-timer. Magnolia's theme. It's interesting how both you and Magnolia were the first Bravely characters to get themes that were separate from their specials. But while Yu's theme doesn't really hit for me most of the time, Magnolia's track really shines. Going back to something more comforting, it's a really pretty piano ballad with some backing strings. Once I had it unlocked, I set it as my music for Chompcraft and never changed it again. I remember listening to this for hours on end as my Blorbos put together plushies at a breakneck pace from an afternoon sugar rush of snacks. It's a very simple song, nothing super fancy about it, but it's one of the songs that I really associate with the identity of Seconds music. Ryo is just really good with the piano, man. And jumping back into high intensity, we've got a song that I've actively heard is bad from some people before, but I really couldn't disagree more. The possible precursor to the theme of our boy Seth, we've got Battle of Anne. I'm mostly going to talk about version 1, but I tie version 2 in as well. I'm a big fan of that Spanish guitar leading into the electric, but thematically, this song just revels in the revelation of deceit. And then version 2 is just angry. It screams the loudest, most vitriolic, spiteful fuck you and your entire human race that I can think of. Anna's theme is so hateful, but it also shows how proud she is of fucking over everyone involved in this story. So good for a villain theme. Now, that track already sings of insanity as it is. So what Bravely Second song screams it even louder? Well, it's the last track for this game I want to mention, the theme for one of my all-time favorite monsters in gaming, Battle of Diamante. I wish that Magnolia had so much more focus in the plot of Second, but this fight still hits different. Diamante's appearance, the arena art, its fuck-ass abilities, and finally, its theme. Battle of Diamante is such a panicked track. That's the word I think I'll use. It's intimidating, sure, but it's not so much to the point of this is insurmountable like Adam's theme was in BD2. No, this is more equivalent to the process of realizing you're fucked. You're suddenly confronted by this unimaginable demon that can't be killed no matter what you throw at it. And I really think this track matches that tone perfectly. Well, that's the last of the Bravely Second tracks, which only leaves Bravely Default 2. Now, this first pick may be one that people think is already quite good, but I just wish there was more open recognition for how incredibly good it is. And that, my friends, would have to be Spurred into Flight, Drenched and Fallen, the Edna boss theme. I will openly say it, this song made me tear up the first time I heard it. Firstly, we're back with Revo, but this time around we have a much more Baroque sound to anything regarding the Nexus. And because Edna is fully corrupted by it at this point, that harpsichord is just going completely crazy as we get a complete reprise of Adele's theme, the fairy motif for the whole game. The song's got great pacing, awesome instrumentation, but you all know the part we love. You get halfway through the track, and you start hearing those familiar descending notes from all those years ago, and just when you finally recognize it, the guitar takes over, giving us that gorgeous Wicked flight solo and wrapping everything back together. This was by far one of the best ways they could have ever given homage to the original game, and I'm forever grateful to Revo for putting it into this track. And then it doesn't end after that. We move right into the second half of Adele's theme on the brass, which sounds equally tragic and heroic at once, like we're making a comeback. This is absolutely one of my all-time favorite boss tracks in the whole series, and it goes so hard. Fucking bravo. And continuing the theme of Baroque boss themes, we have another two-parter. Sort of. It's Marionette of the Night and Wisdom Lost to the Nexus. Technically, these two are paired together in a single track because they make up the Phase 1 and 2 songs for the Chapter 6 fight against the Knight's Nexus. Now, the reason I enjoyed this track, leaning towards the first phase again, is similar to the reason why I enjoy Diamante. It's that impending sense of evil it has to it. But where Diamante has a lot of urgency behind it, Marionette of the Night is meticulous. It is a dark, thinking evil. It sounds far more particular about what it wants, and you're not quite certain of what it's capable of. There's this repeating feeling of falling, descending, just like with Edna's track. And then when that guitar takes... so good. But then you get to Wisdom Lost to the Nexus, and at that point it's all hell breaking loose. The song literally sounds unhinged, like there's a bunch of demons swarming around you, the choir squealing and screeching like a cacophony of damned souls. And plus you've got that FF7 throwback that everyone catches. What's not to love? Mostly, I wanted to draw attention to Marionette because I don't think that one gets enough love specifically. More people mention Bombing Mission in the other theme or talk about how insane the final boss theme is. And again, this one's another all-time favorite of mine. I think I just like Baroque though, to be fair. Whew. Alright, let's take a quick breather and relax. Now earlier I mentioned Silence of the Forest being a good chill song for me. But after I heard this new one, it's my new go-to. Fairykind Sanctuary is by far my absolute favorite town theme in the series. It is unbelievably gorgeous and is just so soothing to me. It takes the fairy motif from Edna and Adele's themes, slows it down, and borrows some vibes from Florum. It really feels like you've crossed over into the realm of the Fae. It's mystical and warm, and I'm out of words to describe it. I know a lot of people love Eternia's theme as their favorite town, but Magmel is gonna be tough to beat for me. And if you've never heard it, I think the Fairy Fantasia version of this song from the Pixel Mixers is like the definitive version of it. Personally, I think they took Paradise and elevated it even further. Go check that out. Which brings us to the final song I have on this list. And I know, I'm doing the Camp BD2 thing again, but genuinely, heart to heart, I think this is by far the single most unappreciated song in the series. I never hear anyone talk about it, and even I forget about it on occasion. But for the very few times it showed up in Bravely Default 2, it was so astoundingly powerful that I'd be remiss to not mention it here. The most underrated song in the Bravely franchise, in my honest opinion, is the track Was That Light We Dreamed of the Past or the Future? Now, not only does this track help confirm a theory I posited in my Knights Nexus Explored video regarding the Chapter 5 continuation scene, but it is also the new Day the Wind Blew in my eyes. Or ears, I suppose. I've seen a comment before saying it sounds so FF9, and the reply on that comment was entirely correct. That is one of the finest compliments your music could ever receive. Now, I'm still not at FF9 in my Final Fantasy journey. I'm going to play it one day, don't you worry. And do not mention anything about it in the comments, please. But I do know exactly what song they're referring to, and it has the exact same tone. Was That Light is such a strong, encouraging track that climbs out of quiet celebration into flagrant commitment. It's just one of those songs that says, I won't let you down, or you never let me down, depending on the scene. Whether it be at the end of Chapter 2, as we wish Wiswald farewell and see little Mona finally at peace, or on the Chapter 3 side quest where we gather some people to Gladys's grave to show Galahad that as much of a bastard that she was, Gladys still mattered to some people and in the end gave her life for Rheindal. Whenever that march kicks in, fuck, it moves me. I have to sit there and just close my eyes for a second. And that's all the songs. All of the underrated Bravely songs in one video. There are no others. Nope. And there certainly won't be any differing opinions in the comments section. I'm sure of that. Alright, I'll see you soon.